And of course, Arthur Marara is in the building. He is a lawyer, he is an author, he is a businessman, he is an aspiring father and husband, and many, many other things. I don't know. I'll tell
you one very personal thing I know about him. He is a fantastic big brother.
Oh, there man. You go.
I'm humbled. And tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think I'm rich today.
All right, what are we looking at today?
Principalities. I think Vangwar Mugumbeze, you're violating a principle. Principle Ndiotumogai. So everyone who is in bed right now, I want you to get out. Tite something. These are the things. So I want to talk about principles and principalities. And what I've been talking about for the past 2.5 years are principles. In other words, these are laws. But the times whereby I've also said don't always blame the devil. But of course, there are times whereby but what I want to do, I want to make a fundamental distinction between principles and principalities. And a principle, it refers to a law. That's why we got the principle of gravity, the principle of seeding and harvest, the principle of cause and effect. These are all principles. These are all laws. And these are also laws you can say have been put by nature. You found the principles being there. And one thing about principles, it's either you're following them or they run away from you. And one thing about principles, if you follow them, you will be successful. And this is what I've always been telling people. Success is a simple matter of following success principles. Meaning you follow what successful people are doing, you do it, you will be successful. If you're a guy, you're single, you want to get an amazing girl. Ask those with amazing ones. How did you do it?
and when you see one, just speak to her.
Simple.
It's a normal line that makes sense. And that is grammatically correct.
So I'm talking about principles, but there's another dimension of principalities. Principalities, this is the supernatural realm. I come from a supernatural background as well. I understand these things. But this is one of the things which I want people to realize. We also happen to interface with the spiritual world. That's why certain people why degree unaro apana chirukubuda wamwe wako wakaenda nawo kuchikoro wamwe wakufamba nemabhasikoro yokana bhara hauna. Those things, some things are just not adding up. And I like what Paul says on principality. He says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. And this is the point that I want people to realize, because I'm going to touch from that dimension, because I've also been studying some people and I've really found the principality dimension. And this is the point. There is also a reality of spiritual warfare. That's why if you take time to study your own family, you find there are certain trends in the family. You study other families, there are certain bloodline trends. That's why it's when tendency yokupopota big time atombozi boundary kuti murume mwana chi andokudza chiro na tete wangu chiro na mbuya wangu waizvita, and those things sometimes we think it's even normal. And one of the things that I found is one a principality of stagnation. That's why mun anogara 10 years, no movement, no what. They're stuck. They don't even know what to do. And I found many people were struggling with what I call strongholds. A stronghold, something is on you. That's why I'm a stronghold. You get akangobata mari inofuridzika chete. One ukawastada akabata mari, something happens. That's why those are all principalities. Those are all strongholds. And some people, their stronghold is laziness. Laziness is natural. I think it's a points. Yeah, and so now go blame Ango Satan because I don't always believe in blaming him. But the times whereby 6 o'clock kusvika manheru usina zvauri kuita, and it's normal. And the whole bloodline, it's normal. And you find in certain families mukastada kune vanhu vanongofind mysterious accidents. I've been shocked when I heard of a particular family vanongoti in a particular month they lose a loved one. Those are principalities. But when you find kuti it's a principality, the question becomes, How do you do it? Why am I distinguishing it? It's because sometimes you can follow the success principles and it doesn't work. But you want to understand that other dimension, what's happening. That's the principality level, which Paul was talking about. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood. And I found, some people, we tend to take for granted our families. We don't even take time to start our families. I don't know why. And you find, if you want to see how real these things are, no offense kunema pastors or whatsoever, but have you ever noticed to anema pastor kawanda inubo? Have you ever noticed that? Because baba wari kudzinga madhimoni wangwana, but kwao kuritika mhepo chaidzo. So you find some of these things, they are real, and this is one of the things I want to challenge people. I've told you and I've confessed, Kuti, I come from this background. I understand these things. You want to understand what you are fighting. It helps you. Why? Because sometimes if you're fighting a spirit of poverty, it means even if you follow the principles, but if you haven't addressed that, you'll still find yourself in the same position. And this is one of the things that I want to challenge people when you're dealing with these things. You do not fight a spiritual warfare using physical means. That's why you want to understand the nature of the warfare. You want to understand the nature of the weaponry. And this is what Paul says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in the God for pulling down of strongholds. So one of the things that I want to challenge people right now, I want you to sit down with yourself. Get to study your family, any particular trends. That will help you come up with an understanding of what you're looking at. By the way, whether or not you're in the diaspora, principalities are real. That's why unokwira ndege ukandoita rombe ku America, unokwira ndege ukaita rombe ku Canada, uchitaura chirungu. Unokwira ndege ukaenda ku Australia ukaita rombe. These things are real.
Okay.
One of the things that I had to fight was that principality, that spirit of inferiority complex. I can't do it. There's someone better than me. But the moment I confronted it, the moment I worked on it, I've managed to do exceptional things. And this is one of the things I want people to understand. Fight your wars. And once you fight your wars, you get ready, you prepare yourself for a life of victory. I'm talking about principality. I'm going to go to my principles. But certain families, akuna no roro was straight. Munesa nenzo ni mosquito. Do you know that? Akuna kana one. Not even.
Zero coordinates.
Yes. And you really wonder, where are we missing the point? What's really happening? Yeah, you could see munwesa ni ma degree kumba batikana one are employed name soro abana. Those are principalities. So one of the things which I want people to understand is the principalities, they can only be confronted by operating in a spiritual level, whereby you get time to pray for yourself, get time to pray for your children. We think giving vanamari is everything, but that's not the truth. This is the reason why you're hearing some funny stories of satanism in schools. Why? We simply send one, we don't even know what they're going into. The next thing, manano, any weird behavior. The next thing you wonder, why? Because these are principalities. All right, my principality. Can I go into principles?
No, you can't. You haven't started. You've just painted such a gloomy picture, and we'll have to come back to this after the break.
16 minutes before 10 o'clock, and today in Shot in the Arm, Arthur Marara is talking about principles and principalities. Coming through on WhatsApp, Hanzi Tango Ziva Kutusuniva Kadziwano Garakumusha. At 45 years old, my wife, I think he's trying to say I'm 45 years old, my wife is 43. I enrolled her for bridging, and last year she graduated as a teacher. Saka ukajairira zvemumuri unoramba uri pasi. Lazaro kumasasi.
I like that. I like that.
You want to challenge what is normal in your family. That's why akuna notenga mota ukatenga mota, an accident happens.
Okay, Arthur, I hear you on two levels. You're saying that there are some things that are just trends or just accepted. To my levels, to my levels of mediocrity that maybe you just learn to live with and you think it's normal. That I can understand from your own passion, from your own power and your own drive, trying to overcome such things. But when you talk about spiritual things, principalities, things that seem to be very deep in the spiritual world and spiritual realm and are beyond you as a human being, how do you begin to get yourself out of that?
All right, I'll tell you one thing. A human being is a spirit in a physical body. And this is one of the things I tell people. If you've ever been close to a person and feel, this person is heavy, I feel certain uneasiness with this person. Do you know what? It's your spirit which is so, next because you are a spiritual being. If you've ever seen Marara, you can sense something happening. There's something around, but you're sleeping. Alternatively, you're in a dream and you dream you're fighting someone or something, and the next thing you wake up and realize something close to what you're dreaming was actually happening.
Okay.
Do you know why? It's because you're a spirit being.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not you believe it, it doesn't mean the spiritual won't affect you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because even our own African traditional religion recognizes it. That's why and so forth. Those things are recognized. But this is the point. These things as you know to nature chakawanda say as you go to degree rakabva kupi, meaning sometimes you want to take it another level where you get to realize sometimes you have to fight on your knees. That's why one of the things which I want to challenge you is sit down and do a bit of trekking. A great grandmother. That's why you find great grandmother sometimes like the great grandmother. Alternatively, I come from a background where my great grandfather, Angonaka's 43. True story, 43. And the next thing I realized, this is nonsense. I can't do this. So you know what? I've made it a policy to fight it and refuse it. And say, I want to be different. So I refuse to recognize that principality. So what do I challenge it and I set a new principle.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the things which I want to encourage people. Could sometimes you better sit down, better travel a journey, travel a generation. I'll give you a simple example of a guy called Abraham. You know, Abraham was a serial liar. And she's my sister. And what happens with the same child, Isaac? Same question. What does he say?
Yeah,
my sister. Talk about David. David is a serial say adulterer. What do you find in the family of David? Perversion, incest. Solomon, Nubu. Why? Because it's a blood line. And a bloodline is nothing to do with status. It can always attack you. This is the reason why we want to work on wholesome success, whereby you're successful within and successful without. And this is the challenge which I'm placing to all parents. You need to fight for your own children. That's why one of the things my mother does, she says, I always pray for you. I always pray for you. I always pray for you. Why? Because there's some battles which you don't see physically, but which are happening. There's certain battles which are happening every time, everywhere you are. You want to see them.
And sometimes when you sit down, never kuru in the family, and you want to go deeper, and they know to question your kubvunza yakati, but because of you know, certain things are not revealed to you. In I know I'm a very inquisitive person, and I will ask questions. I was replied at some point, what you don't know, Anzi, leave certain things alone. Yeah. So you wega unengatsoziva kuti zvoni pane nyaya panapa vanhu vakaita zvinhu zvavakaita kudhara, and now I don't know, I think they're just sitting and hoping it will go away.
No, it won't, because it didn't come on its own.
Yeah, because look at me in my generation now. I'm beginning to question certain things, of which it's not going away.
Okay, you guys, now that we've gone there, we may as well have RK in the studio and go into that faith talk. My question is, okay, you've said what you've said about, backgrounds and forefathers and what. When you look back, maybe if I can give you an example of myself, I only know as far back as on my paternal side, on both sides actually, as far back as the grandfather, Anditi, who was not necessarily Christian. That will affect me spiritually and bloodline wise. And then I was brought up Christian. That's all I know. You understand? And then you look at my parents' generation, it was brought up half Christian, half traditional. But you understand? So a person like me, which is, I think, it represents a lot of Zimbabweans, where all you know is your God, your Jesus, and your church. Is it enough? Is it enough to cancel all those other realms? Is it enough? Are we really protected?
No. It's not enough.
Do you know one pledge is wives to spirits, and the next thing, every relationship is not successful. Nice guy, and the next thing, something happens from him. Those are sometimes when I was forgot that it's your direction. Push very funny because some. I didn't want to go much. I wanted to focus on my principles.
You are not going to your principles. We've had your principles for 2 years. We want to unpack this issue. What are you saying? It's 9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Speak.
Ladies, I'm saying, if I want you to study, this is the challenge I'm giving everybody. Study. If I sit down with the guys at home, it is serious. Why? Because when you yes, whether or not you see it, it's a war. Whether or not you see it, sometimes you're fighting stagnation. Sometimes you're fighting what I call an almost spirit. You don't call it an almost spirit. I almost get married. I almost got that job. I almost got that interview. I almost got that appointment. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever seen people telling you almost?
Oh, yeah.
And people think, it's because it's also there is a realm of principalities.
Yeah. Sakatodi, what are you saying? Unita say, you know, the one system that you know, is it enough to fight other systems that you don't know?
You know what? You don't fight the spiritual using the physical, because this is not a physical battle.
Okay.
That's why when you pray for yourself, it's not a joke.
Okay.
When you pray for your future, it's not a joke. When you pray for your business, it's not a joke. When you pray for a future marriage, it's not a joke. When you pray for a future spouse, it's not a joke. Because you know the forces that are against you, they are not joking. I heard someone saying a part-time Christian cannot defeat a full-time demon.
Yeah, that's true. What the question you're asking with the Sakatoite, and all you know is, you know, this one system that you are in, and for some reason, because you didn't meddle, you are feeling you know, certain things should not. Yeah, but as and when you fight, I think when we go back to the word, it also shows us, you know, the different methods of which we fight. Some people fight via sacrifice, because more than $1,000. So you have to fight either with your sacrifice. You have to, like Jesus rightfully said, some of these things don't go out, but unless with much prayer and much fasting, and you'll be concentrate hitting on that issue. If it's a marriage issue, if it's a promotion issue, if it's you know, and some people have holes in your pocket. You have to just stand and keep declaring, and that yoke will be broken. But for now,
but for me, here's also why I feel that this thing is a bit limited, because all you hear when we talk about battles are material things. People are fighting for material things. Everyone wants to be married. Who says you have to be married? Everyone wants $1 million. Who says you have to be a millionaire? For me, it becomes irrelevant, because when you're talking spiritual things, I think we should be aspiring to greater things. I've never heard any prophet or any such level